What up, what up, what up, though? Man, we gotta talk, man. Before my brothers jump in here, I'm gonna tell you about the two videos that we get ready to talk about, alright? I'm gonna show them to you real quick, okay? Now, here's the first one.
See, the infamous Michael Jai White decided to comment on the Sensei job. As you can see, the infamous Michael Jai White decided to comment under my video talking about real fighting and real MMA and how what I do is choreography, not knowing that real fighting is exactly what I do.
We talked about this yesterday. The video bruh put up and Michael Jai's response. If you didn't see it, you gotta go see it. This is his response video to Michael Jai's comment on his post. Alright, this is the video we get ready to talk about. This one and another one. I'm gonna play it in a minute. I'm gonna get my brothers in here real quick while y'all watch this. Okay,
Sensei.
so that's the first one. That's the first video. What up, bro? We sitting here playing. We playing the two videos real quick. I'm ready to play this second one so they can see it. This video, y'all, is the video he posted today with his techniques with Elijah Farrakhan, who's a great brother in the Sanukis family as well. Finger lock was nice. Master Elijah, that motherfucker was nice right there. All right, look. So we got the brother. What's up? What's up, Rod?
What up, though?
Man, Coach Sam was in here somewhere.
Look like he's still loading.
Huh?
You in there? I guess he'll pop up in a second.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
what you thinking, bro? What you thinking, bro?
no, man. I mean, I honestly, I love what they do. I love Sanukis. They are,
Man, shout out Sanukis. First of all, before we even start out this conversation, shout out Sanukis,
oh,
VSK, Dr. Moses Powell, the God, and the whole VSK Sanukis family.
all right. Let me quick on the Sanukis. My hero throughout this world from every lifetime will be my father. So if my father spoke of somebody in high regard, I looked at them as such. So the way my father talked about Moses Powell, and they were good friends. Moses Powell used to come to our house whenever he came to Detroit. Sometimes he just wanted to get out of Dodge and, come kick it with us, even when he wasn't coming doing workshops. So I did have some experience with Moses Powell. I was probably too young to really appreciate him the way that I appreciate him now. But yeah, the Sanukas family is just awesome. I love the Sanukas family more than I could say at this moment. But yeah,
What
just
up,
that's
though?
good.
Everybody in the chat, what up, though? We hear you. We see you. My
There you
bad. If I
go.
don't say what up, you know I love you.
Peace,
Press to
Peace,
the
peace.
gods.
Coach. Coach
Peace,
Sam's in the
peace.
building. So
What's happening?
we just showed everybody the two videos that I sent y'all, and
hmm
Ramasu was getting ready to give his take.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I mean, it was a nice response video, but
I see
like
you, girl.
like I was saying earlier, I personally, I would have took it to somebody shooting at me. You know what I'm saying? I grew up wrestling, and I think that's why my father put me in wrestling. You know, as one of the bases of martial arts, because you're gonna end up on the ground, you're gonna get dumped. You
Yep.
know, people gonna try to dump you, people gonna try to tackle you, and like I said, some double legs are absolutely explosive, and you gotta, I'm a sprawler myself, but with the first video, it's all situational. It's timing. It's, of course, in the middle of a double leg, you might not be. I see exactly what Michael Jai was saying, but like I said, I also see the young brother. I see the legitimacy in his techniques, and I see it, but it's all situational. You can't you.
Fam,
I know
bring my
you're not
stuff.
gonna be, if somebody's a good wrestler and then they in a miss they shooting, you're not gonna be able to do that. You're gonna have to sprawl out. You're gonna have to get step off line. You're gonna have
And
to
you
do
know
something
what?
else.
He did sprawl. He just didn't talk about that. He just,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
to throw that in there. I thought,
yeah.
because that was one of my thoughts too. Is like, man, you should have talked about the sprawl first too
hmm
before you showed the magic. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. But no, like I said, I'm on the fence. I see what Big Bro was talking about. But I also see the legitimacy in the young brother. You know what I'm
Fam,
saying?
have
And
Maya bring it to me.
and you can't, when you're training with your partners, you can't do some of the nasty stuff that is in Sanukas. You know what I'm saying? You can't take your brother eye out training. You know what I'm saying? You, you can't hit him in the throat before you do all of those techniques, because real martial arts is nasty. All of that stuff is in there.
Thank you, bro.
A lot of that type of stuff is taken out of martial arts.
Thank you.
Even when it comes to the karate punch, when there's always traditionally with the karate punch, there was always an eye gouge first before you punched. You always took the eyes out first. And Morihei Yoshiba in Aikido, he said you literally crush the person's eye before every move. So when you see all of those throws, if it's going past the face, you're crushing the person's eye. And that's what people don't see and understand about
You
the
can't do
things.
that, bro. I'm sorry. Hang on. Hang on. I don't mean to interrupt you. You cannot do that because they don't see it in the octagon. So please stop. You have to stop, brother. If it doesn't happen in the octagon or the boxing ring, then it don't exist. I'm
It don't
sorry. Please
exist.
continue. I'm sorry. Please continue. Please continue.
Mind you, they got
One,
gloves.
one of my father's, hey, when the UFC first came out, the Ultimate Fighting Challenge, my father's student tore a guy's nose off. So he said they said, all of that African stuff y'all doing, it ain't gonna work. We got the best fighters in the world. We're gonna put you on our guard and choke you out. But like I said, it's a good conversation that needs to be had, because you know some of that, it's you need to train diligently in grappling and shooting and sprawling. You need to have all of these things as a well-rounded martial artist. If you don't know how to sprawl, if you don't know wrestling, if you don't know grappling, and for a real martial artist, if you up in tight, that's when the real shit goes down. When you in close, when you on the ground, somebody come in close, that's where you want him to be. I'm as a martial arts is not just about knocking somebody out. It's about destroying
Destroyed.
whatever it is you touch. Speaking of Sanukas, Moses Powell, if he touch you, he got you. You know what
Hey,
I'm
I
saying?
was going before we let Coach Sam do his take. I was gonna ask you one question. Do you think Dr. Powell's demonstration of the same defense would have been the same, or would have been more devastating?
I mean, like I said, it's certain things that I won't really talk about when it comes to Moses Powell, because I know, I heard some stories, but he was the real deal. He really fought a lot. For fuck a cage, he was a real fighter, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of martial artists are not real fighters. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. You could be a naturally good fighter in general. You know what I'm saying? Fighting, people don't understand real fighting. Like today, a real fight. is me punching you in the face as hard as I possibly can when you're not expecting it. You know what I'm saying? So it's really it's about awareness. It's about a lot of different variables to go with, you know, a real fight is 6 guys on one guy. You know what I'm saying? But to go back to your question, I don't. Moses, actual Dr. Moses Powell was just different. You know, he was pulling that stuff from the ethers. You know, he was different. That stuff just came to him. You know what I'm saying?
I
He.
think, in my opinion, I think it would have been a little more devastating, and it was because of what you said. Like I think he had more of a close combat
Mm-hmm,
fight perspective,
mm-hmm,
um, which I think, and I'll just put that out there. A lot of these techniques that they're doing when we patty cake sometimes,
mm-hmm,
and I don't mean that in disrespect. I'm just saying all of that is close quarters, and I don't think people really realize that changing the distance is two different fights.
mm-hmm.
But go ahead, coach. I know you got some knowledge.
He about to drop some.
Um, all right.
He over at
Here,
Smiley. He got some gems. He got
No,
some
he about to
here,
gems.
take.
Y'all better get your bags out. He ready to drop some shit on you. He
here,
ready to drop
no,
the
here,
bag.
here's my take on it. Here's my take on it. We got to stop with the separation and the division. And we have to stop doing it from a position of I'm right, you're wrong. Everybody's right. It just depends on the environment that you're choosing to express yourself in. Everybody's right. So when we call it choreography, if I'm doing a striking drill in kickboxing, right? And I do a side step straight hand. You do a pull counter, straight hand counter. You slip. You counter with a hook. If we go through those fluidity movements, that's choreography. Choreography is in every single martial art fight, whatever it is. If you go to a Muay Thai gym, you're going to do choreography. If you go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, you're going to do choreography. Everything is choreographed so that your brain can understand what the body needs to do. It's a connection that needs to take place. And oftentimes we look at choreography in martial arts and we hate it. We hate it because of what you just said, the pity pat movement, right? And we say, oh my God, that doesn't work because we don't see it in an octagon. We don't see it in a sport setting. And I keep trying to help people understand sport expression is different than combative expression. And we gotta understand that martial arts is different from sport expression. The brother said, I'm a fighter. Okay. He showed his point fighting skills.
Hey,
I personally would not have
hey,
put that out. I would not have put that out as my reply to what Michael Jai White said. Okay.
Ramos,
Me personally,
we did not just say that.
me
Did not
personally,
just say that before we got on this live.
Yeah,
me personally, I would not have put that out as my response. But that movement has its place as well if you know how to apply it. But I would not call that a fight. You understand what I'm saying? But then again, let's be fair. The videos that we see of Michael Jai White are very similar in his quote unquote fight expression. And I'm not saying he can't fight. The brother's a phenomenal martial artist, and he knows more than most people have forgotten. And that's not what I'm saying. But the video that the young brother put out and the old videos that we see of Michael Jai White are very, very similar in expression because there were rules that could not be, or techniques that could not be expressed in those demonstration or those tournaments or whatever that we're holding people accountable for. And I don't like that. I don't think that's fair to the art. I don't think that's fair to the growth. I don't think that's fair to a young brother who's searching and trying to find his way on this big fucking vast journey. Do you not understand? If I challenge myself at 21 for what I thought I knew compared to 44,
Man,
it's not even close. It's not
man.
even close. And guess what? At 25, I was 278 pounds. I was fighting bare knuckle. I was doing this. I was doing all kind of shit. Me at 44 right now, I'll destroy me at 25 years old. I will destroy me at 25 years old.
Destroy.
You understand what I'm saying? I will
Without a
destroy the
second thought.
25-year-old version of me. And it wouldn't be close. But we have a tendency, and I think I saw somebody say in the video, they said, man, you could have inboxed the young brother that. See, that looks divisive. It looks very divisive. You see what I'm saying? So now that opens up another door for somebody else to say, what he's teaching is bullshit. What he's teaching is very authentic. It's very authentic, and it has its place. But we get so wrapped up into what is done in an octagon and what's done on a mat. Let me go here real quick so we can really be real. You may be the baddest Muay Thai fighter in the world until you get outside the comfort of your gym. And if you look at the statistics of how many fighters get stabbed, get shot, that means you're not ready for real street combat. You're not ready. So if all you're bringing to the table is your Muay Thai skills, your BJJ skills, and you approach a situation and this guy pulls a knife and you say, shit, I don't know what to do with that, then you're not ready for real combat. Your training is only sport specific. And that's where we got to start. We got to be honest with ourselves. Just because you're the baddest man on the planet in an octagon, there's some real bad motherfuckers that you've never heard of before that don't decide to express themselves for points, don't decide to express themselves for tournaments, don't decide to express themselves for trophies or titles. They're just bad motherfuckers. And we got to give that respect and give that credit. How do you think a motherfucker would do if he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he gets his ass trapped behind that wall? Now you're behind that wall where some men got some real intentions, where some men got some real energy, where some men that got some real motivation.
I hope you ain't laying
What the
down.
fuck is your jiu-jitsu gonna do when this man's got a shank and he's got 3 of his homeboys? What is it gonna do then? And everybody's 285 pounds, and their intention is to murder and kill. What's your jiu-jitsu gonna do? What is your Muay Thai gonna do? Although I love Thai boxing,
Love it. Love it to
but
death.
where does it fit in the narrative of multiple opponents? Where does it fit in the narrative of, guess what? These men want to kill me. You understand what I'm saying?
And
So
not to
if we
say that
really,
it doesn't, but how are you taking your training?
exactly. So what the reality has to be is this. If I don't take the information from the systems that I'm studying and learn to apply them in a real life situation, then I'm failing my journey. I'm failing my journey because my journey is only fit for the dojo. My journey is only fit for a sport competition. Ain't no fight about to start where we get to both knuckle up. You ready? You ready? Let's go. Man, fuck that. No, you better know what a sneak attack looks like because I'm hitting you first. You look like a threat to me, I'm hitting you first. If you're too close to me, I'm headbutting the shit out you. I'm gonna bite your fucking ear. Then when I pull this fucking blade out, when I draw this fucking blade and I stick you 3 times and I kick your homeboy in the face and stomp his skull out, that doesn't look like a sport tournament. You probably won't even know I trained except for the way the strikes start looking. You see what I'm saying? The mentality has to be there. And I know I
Hey
get it.
man,
Look, bro.
I bet that ever walk across you in a dark alley.
Oh,
Hey,
Hey,
that was
look.
a little too violent for me.
Pistol at the least. That's and you better be having on some John Wick shit because I know he got his.
But that's
Oh
when
shit.
you got to be a well-rounded martial artist. You can't just train a certain way. You have to train every way you could possibly train. You got to train ground fighting. You know, you don't want to use a grenade in a phone booth. So you have to use what applies for a
Come on.
situation. Because everybody said, oh, that'll never work in a real fight. Never, never. What if the person I'm fighting is weak as hell and I could just never? That's why
Never very definitive.
that'll never work in a real fight. Never. What? What if I'm fighting a kid? Not that I'll fight a kid, but I'm just saying, never.
I would.
Never.
So my thing is too, like I I I definitely mess with Lil Bruh, right? Like you doing your thing. I see you. You know what I'm saying? You definitely in that Sanukas family. You trying to spread the knowledge, man. 100%. I'm on your side. You know what I mean? Keep doing your thing. Keep doing your videos. Two, I don't think Mike meant it as a slight. I think he just said something that we all need to hear. You know what I mean? And three, I think he said it in our community for a reason, right? Versus, I don't think it was more malicious to be like, dang, you gonna do this to the young brother, versus like, look, y'all, we all in here family. So let me say something real quick. You know what I mean? Speaking as a big brother in the arts per se, more so. I don't know. I can't read the bruh's mind. I don't know how he meant it. I'm just saying, like, all the perspectives I'm looking at it from. And when I look at it from, like, the tree, like me and Ramasu was talking earlier, yeah, like, why you got to do it on bruh's post? You know what I mean? And it's just like, I see all of that. But when I look at the forest, and for what Mike was saying, is like, yo, we in an MMA age, we've got to make sure we're diligent in how and what we're teaching to make sure that the viewers, because we're in the MMA age and we're also in the social media age. And so if you're going to be, you know, a content creator or whatever, and be true to the art that you know, your forefather began, and when he was doing it, he was very, very, very true to that stuff. And there's about him, you know, that, you know, you got to be diligent and more prudent in how you show and what you show, and making sure everybody understands what you're doing. You know, I don't think he said that bruh did anything wrong. He didn't say that. I think he just said the apple is red, the orange is orange, the banana is yellow. You know what I mean? And sometimes we feel a certain way because, you know, it might be something that we need to look at, you know what I mean? And we don't want to change. But I said that in my video the other day, you know, a lot of this patty cake, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but a lot of that, when we start getting into that, is a higher level thing. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to come in first day, be able to take that out the same day and save their life for the most part. That's that's a higher percentage technique for a higher level student. For a lower level student, that's not a high percentage technique. Something for a lower level student, in his case, an example would have been show the sprawl, and then show something very simple, like one or two moves after that you do. Because, you know, the amount of energy that goes into those strikes and the experience that you put on here, everybody's not going to be able to get, or at least give the disclaimer before saying these are some higher level stuff.